In this lesson, we're going to be talking about malware analysis. Malware analysis is a pretty big topic. We're going to just skim over a couple of things quickly. You could probably find a college course somewhere that would cover this in pretty great detail. There's a lot of knowledge that goes into malware analysis. The thing about ethical hacking is it requires a fairly broad level of information just so you get a sense of what's involved. If you're interested in learning more, of course, you can take this as a starting point. But let's take a look at a couple of ways that we can do malware analysis. Now, the first thing we can do is go to this website called virustotal.com, and it will do an analysis on suspicious files and URLs. I'm going to find a file that I'm pretty sure has some problems with it, and I'm going to send it to them. So it's this one here, and I'm going to say scan it. So it's uploading, and it looks like this file was already analyzed by VirusTotal, and so we can take a look at the last analysis. This happens to be a botnet. It runs on Windows 32. Here are the different names that it has been classified under with the different antivirus engines. You can see Nod32 actually identifies it for what it really is. It's a variant of Zeus. And you'll also see some of these others calling it Zbot. For example, Microsoft calls it Zbot, which is another name for what this particular piece of software actually is. It's a Zeus variant. I happen to have it for purposes of analysis and doing some work with it to see what it is, what it does, and just take a look at it. So you could use VirusTotal if you don't want to go digging around yourself, and it can provide you information about what all of these different antivirus companies think that it is. So I've got these different executables here. I'm actually running this on a Linux system because it's the easiest way to run this particular utility. And what strings will do is it will find ASCII strings in this executable and print them out for us. You can see all of the different strings that are in this file, and it looks like a lot of them look like garbage. Towards the bottom, though, you can see the different DLLs that this pulls in. So like Shell32 and Olay32, Common Controls 32. We can also see there's some XML information here as well. And it looks like this may be something to do with .NET because this is an assembly definition, this little piece of XML here. So we could use strings to look at human-readable information that's in executables. Sometimes just the human-readable strings that are in a program can give us some information about maybe who was involved with it or where it's come from or what it does. And you can certainly see that there are some different function names here at the end, and usually these are functions that are being imported from some other library somewhere. And again, you can also see the different libraries that are involved, these DLLs here. These are ones that get loaded as external libraries to this particular program. So again, I did this under Linux. You can get versions of strings for Windows and do the same thing on a Windows platform. Another program that I can take a look at under Windows is this PEID. This will give us information about the program executable, and I'm going to go take a look at the file that I looked at earlier, the zsbcs.exe. And the thing about this PEID program is, in addition to things like the entry point and the file offset, the linker info, and the first bytes, the subsystem that is involved with this executable, it will also tell you whether it's been packed or not. So you can see this particular one has been packed, and it uses the UPX packer. You can see the EP section is UPX1, so the very first thing that this executable is going to do is unpack itself before it goes and runs the main portion of the executable. Now that's for a packed program. Let's just take a look at one that probably isn't packed, and you can see there's no packer here found. We've got an entry point and a file offset here as well. The linker info is 9.0 as opposed to 10.0, which the other one was. And this is a Win32 console application. We'll also get into using debuggers in subsequent videos, and you can use debuggers to pull malware apart as well. Of course, that requires some knowledge about programming, or at least a willingness to just roll your sleeves up and dig in and learn an awful lot about program structure and memory layout and those sorts of things in terms of how programs get loaded into memory by the operating system and executed. But that's a starting point on malware analysis.